So me and Austin just watched Batman the animated version of The Killing Joke, and I think we both agree that it's pretty horrible. um, just a quick summary, I guess I would say of it, because I want to rant a lot about it, because I feel like it just really was bad. It's like Batgirl and Batman are teaming up, and they're fighting this one criminal that they go into the story a little bit of. His name is like Paris France, something like that. But France is pronounced weird. It's like
Paris
Fran.
Brown.
Fran.
Yeah.
And it's like
Just stupid.
the movie is like an hour, like 18 or something like that. And we'll cut off 4 for credits. So it's an hour 14. The first 25 minutes of this movie, so almost like 30% of the movie, is about this Paris Franz guy. And then they never bring him up again. Well, all right, hold on. Let me just do this real quick.
And you know what?
Well, go ahead.
And the bad guy is like objectifying her the whole time.
Yeah, it's stupid. So they're fighting this Paris France guy, Batman and Batgirl, and whatever. I guess it's to emphasize the relationship between Batman and Batgirl, and then to show that like, oh, there's an edge, and if we get too close to it, we, I don't know, kill people or whatever, do things we shouldn't do.
You know, darkness and, you know, bad things.
Go to the dark side. The Sith will get you.
Yeah, exactly.
So the first 25 minutes is purely horrible of them like always like fighting this Paris guy, and this Paris guy just doing stupid stuff. And then
Very generic what he does. Like, I'm going to rob a bank. No, I'm going to go after my own family and be the pet guy. I'm like,
yeah,
cool.
Then it kind of gets into like where the book actually starts off, or what happens like the book where Batman goes to see Joker in the prison cell, and then he's like talking to him, and then I've read the book, but it's been quite a long while, so I'm not too I don't remember everything about it. But then Joker escapes. It's not the same person in the jail cell. Then they kind of go into the background story of the Joker, and then like Joker buys like an amusement park and sets up this whole like plan to get Commissioner Gordon, and then like push Batman to the extreme, which is like the basis of the movie. Is Joker's trying to push Batman to the extreme so he'll crack or whatever, but Batman's supposed to be better than. But that's pretty much a summary. I would say.
Yeah, we won't go into that much detail because we want to kind of go in more of a rant about how bad this movie is. Because, you know, I haven't actually read the comic book, but I can see where the comic book shot into the movie. Because it looks like there's that one part where he talks about, you know, Joker, it's either going to be you or me if we don't solve this problem about, you know, how we can get him back to rehabilitate. I see that happening in the book, in the comic book. But then it goes into like a whole other generic thing about, well, it goes into like, oh, well, he wants to buy a circus. He wants to make Commissioner Gordon have what is called a bad day, which is what supposedly Joker had. And that Joker, I mean, I don't know that's like even close to what the plot was in the book, but it doesn't really make sense.
That's very similar in the book. What happens? That happen in the book.
So he literally does that, where he's just like, well, my wife's dead. I guess I'll still go into mob bosses. Rob this place.
In the book, I'll emphasize this real quick. The whole Batman and Batgirl first 25 minutes with Hans and Franz, that never happened in the book. That has nothing.
Yeah, that's very obvious.
Which is just annoying to me because it's like 30% of the whole movie has nothing to do with the main plot and with the book, which is what this show or this movie is supposed to be about, is the book.
What do you think? Why they put that in there? Was it just to get some more sympathy for what happens to her at the?
I think it's trying to connect Batman and Batgirl closer together, saying they have so much of a relationship, and that's why they make it seem deep, dark, or more impactful when Joker shoots her. But that's what.
Yeah, I thought it was two. I thought it was two different things. I thought it was either one, which was like you just said, which was try to be more impactful as opposed to just, you know, oh, Batgirl got shot, who you don't really know that
I don't
well,
think she's Batgirl in the comic
really
book. And the Killing Joke.
Yeah, it was supposed to be like one of the universes, isn't she?
No, but
like,
I mean,
Commissioner Gordon's daughter.
I mean, in the comic book, she is Batgirl. But I'm saying in the Killing Joke, she's not Batgirl anytime during the book. She's just Commissioner Gordon's
Yeah.
daughter in the actual comic book.
Mm.
But okay,
And then she just gets paralyzed.
yeah,
But I also think that they were trying to make a parable between Batgirl and the mob boss and Batman and Joker.
mm-hmm.
Because they keep on saying, you know, he's that mob boss is gonna push you to the edge of killing him, and you're losing control. And she's just like, oh, I'm so infuriated, but all right, I guess I'll leave because I can't, because he pushed me to that portion. And then Batman's just like, you don't want to go there. And then Batman kind of gets the same thing with Joker. And you know at the very end, because you know it doesn't show that in the book, I know that, or it didn't show him choking him or killing him, but it's kind of imply what's happening.
In the book, it's actually really cool where he puts his hands on her shoulders and they're laughing, and then it's only Batman laughing, and you could see Joker being lifted up because it shows their feet, and Batman's is on the floor,
really?
And Joker's is slightly raised, and then you can see the police sirens calling Batman's name or something like that, and then the book ends. It doesn't say that he kills him, and the guy has Alan Moore, I believe is the guy who wrote it, has said that it's up to your impersonation or whatever words. Screw that.
Representation.
Impersonation. Whatever. That's right. But
well, big words mean man no think good.
We don't like. But it's heavily implied that he killed him, but it's up to you to decide if he did or he didn't.
I mean, as I say, it's heavily implied. I don't know if you can really make the distinction. Like, no, he's just giving him a hug.
Which is also when they give around the background story to the Joker, which is the mafia thing, which does happen in the book. He also says a line from the book where he says, "When I remember my past, I don't remember it correctly, or I don't remember it specifically, but I remember it in multiple choices."
It's never always the same.
Yeah,
I think it's like the quote,
which is
like he never. But
I'd say it's just Alan Moore. I don't think he wanted, because a big mysterious thing about Joker is his origin. No one really knows his origin. So Alan Moore wrote this as his origin, but he didn't want it to be like a definitive origin for him. It could also be like Joker's insane and he's not remembering. He's just making up his own origin.
I think that's a better kind of intake because I don't know how many other characters we liked in the past who have gotten an origin story and we hated it so fucking much.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it was a safe bet to kind of say it's not really a origin story as much as what he thinks his origin story is, because he really doesn't know. He kind of just contemplates that it's probably because of this one bad day, and then I don't know. It's one interpretation, but I would have really liked to have a more kind of like it's what's that one kind of idea that it's like it's never the same Joker. It's just a guy who has like a virus in him. And like Joker gets passed down from person to person, and then has some kind of a different story. That's why his memories are always jacked up.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this is fine too. I again, it's just that first part really derails the kind of the whole part of the movie.
Yeah.
For me, because it's just kind of like I wanted because and I will also say Mark Hamilton, or is it Mark Hamilton?
It's just Mark Hamill.
Mark Hamill, who's the.
He's Luke Skywalker.
Guy who does the Joker, who's the fucking OP of Jokers.
And he's Luke.
Yeah. I would have really liked a better job than... What do you think could have made this better, I guess, from your perspective?
If they just did it... I mean, I haven't watched a lot of DC animated movies, but from what I've heard is, from my friends and whatnot and from the internet, is they follow like almost to a T like the comic book. So, and that's like really all it is. And I just found it so weird that for this one, such a big, like, almost like everyone's favorite, like, one of the top 5 like Batman books, they decide like, hey, how about I just do whatever I want in this one instead of like following the book. Even when they're following the book, like when Joker escapes and then like he goes to the amusement park or whatever, or the circus, and he buys it out to set up this plan to break Batman. There's a scene where there's those storage containers, and they walk in there and they find like there's 4 dead people who've been dead but not decomposing for 4 years or for 3 years, and Batman's like, oh, this is the Joker, now I have to go check on it. I don't believe that ever happened. I could be wrong, but
there's a scene that he checks on a guy and then says, I gotta go to the asylum, and he's like, why? I gotta go see him. And then just shows one of those guys who have this giant smile on their face, and that's about it. I don't really think it does go into much detail. I really would have liked it if they had like I wouldn't say, because I mean I understand that it's not a big story, the Killing Joke, when you kind of go out to it, but I think they could have done a way better job just having that backstory a lot more fleshed out. Because I mean, they could have played some of the classic Joker moments with Batman. I mean, you have like a whole anime series called like the Dark Knight animated series that can do a really good job and like refreshing people's story about the Joker and Batman to a degree at least. But they really didn't do anything. They were just kind of like, yeah, fuck it. Let's just do a love story between Batman and Batgirl for a good 20 minutes.
Yeah.
That would make all the nerds.
That was horrible.
That was a very bad choice.
I kept watching that and I was like, man, like, everything of this is just bad. Like even when they're chasing the semi, and they're like, dude, the guy's like, let's ditch the semi or let's ditch the whatever the trailer. He's like, no, we're good. Yeah, he's like, it's just Batgirl, whatever. And then Batgirl's beating them all up, and then Batman's like,
yeah, we're all the same thing. Like, it's Batgirl, it's not Batman. Let's calm down here.
but Batman's right on them, too.
Yeah, that's true. Okay, never mind. So I'll be like, okay, it's just Batgirl.
But he shoots like some grappling hook, and he pulls out the armored car, and then they're like, okay, let's ditch it now, and they ditch it now, and then I forget what does Batgirl do something, and she crashes them.
They get away from I can't remember. There was such unmemorable moments in that entire series.
No, but
I can't remember.
It's true, but the thing that annoyed me about this whole thing is, as soon as Batman shows up to take this armored vehicle, pull it out, and then he disappears for like 5 minutes, and then like.
Well, what happens? The trailer gets unhooked, and they kind of get escaped. I think Batgirl is about to get them, but then they unhook it, and she's still on the trailer. And a guy who was in the back of the trailer is about to shoot Batgirl, and then like Batman does like a drift hit to his back of his ass, and then sends him flying, which I'm pretty sure could still hurt someone severely.
But the thing, it seems to me that Batman should have been like on their tail the entire time if he was in like his.
Yeah, it's not like that. Like a semi-truck is not as fast as the Batmobile.
And he's like late to it too. Like she's like fighting those the henchmen for a little bit, and then Batman shows up and hits her. It's like, weren't you right behind me the entire time in like a insanely fast car? But
yeah, I would just say that too. Although I did kind of like when he was talking to the mob boss, or not the mob boss, but I guess the goon agent. He talks about where is the Joker, and he says, I would tell you. Because no matter how scared we are of Batman, we're terrified of the Joker. Because the Batman, they kind of know Batman to a certain degree won't kill them. Yeah. He'll beat the shit out of them. But he knows like Joker will like murder him and his whole fucking family just for kicks. Yeah. So I kind of enjoyed that little nugget because it really kind of tells a lot more about how Joker is to the mafia and to the goons as opposed to Batman is. Because, I mean, there's two different levels of fear, which is, like, Batman's right here, and, like, one, like, notch up is the Joker. Yeah. Which they're kind of talking about, too, is this being, like, Batman most likely had a bad day that kind of made him into what he is now. Yeah. But not as, like, insane as the Joker. And he's just trying to push this idea that Commissioner Gordon can do that too. Which, weirdly enough, they don't even explain how Commissioner Gordon's like head thinking of how he didn't turn, even though like he's throwing so much shit at him in such a small amount of time. He's kind of like, I want to get done by the books, and I'm like, how are you not like, dude, shoot him? Fuck this guy.
I like that in the book though. When that happened in the book, when like Gordon's been through so much junk. And then, like, Batman shows up, and he's like, you have to bring Joker in by the books. You have to show him that we're better than him, and that we're not, like, insane psychopaths. I feel like that's where it comes from, and I thought that was very cool. Like, at least, and it kind of does that in the movie, too.
This shows him sulking for the most part, so I don't really know his, like, headspace. I understand he says, like, I don't want the Joker to think we can be like him. Yeah. Because, to be fair, Joker does say, like, I want you to be like me, so he's kind of, like, giving away his own cards. But also, I'm kind of like, why would you not, at some point, Like I want to see that realization that he's just like, no, I'm not going to be like this because Barbara wouldn't want me to be like this, or her mother wouldn't, or anything like. It's just kind of like, no, fuck this guy. I mean, that's just my thinking about it. I would really, really love to kind of look at his headspace and see where he's at.
Yeah. But I don't know. Overall,
but I'd say I give it a 6.
6. Oh, I would give this like, like a 3 out of 10. I would not watch this again. I wouldn't watch this drunk. I wouldn't watch this anything. If someone
I would fast forward for 25 minutes.
I would fast forward the first 50 minutes. Just get me to the end. I don't know. So you could if you gave me $20 to see this,
there was a good moment for the Joker. I still like that voice actor for him.
Yeah, there was some good moments, but all the good moments were like as if the dude who was directing it took like his own like fan fiction of this book and made that like 15 minutes of the movie.
Batman fucks Batgirl.
Then Joker walks in.
Says, "Hey, baby," with a Hawaiian shirt on.
But it's as if this dude, the guy who directed this, wrote like his 15-minute fan fiction of his own original story and then how he would change the comic book, and then he just sprinkled on top like lines from the comic book. He's like, "This will appease the nerds," and it's just like, "No, this is bad."
Well, you don't like the relationship between Batman and Batgirl? Come on. That's what everyone was complaining about on Reddit when the comic book came out.
Where's Batgirl?
I mean, if you guys like Batman, I would recommend the book. I would not recommend this at all.
The book's really good.
And it's just, I mean, it's just such a disappointment because they had so much good. They had the voice actor that everyone loves for the Joker. They had so much going for it, and they just made every risky decision. But they've made some risky decisions, but they're all bad.
Yeah.
In the exact way you don't want it. Yeah. So
combined 4.5, I believe, is the score.
3 and 6, it's 4.
4.5.
Oh, it's 4.5. Yeah, you're right. I'm sorry.
Okay, so we'll just give it a 1. Next review is the person.
All right, we're good.